something fast. What time did you? Georgia. Clean like a wow. Yo, Clarky. Right there, you know what I'm going. Hey, Tiffany. DJ take 2 pictures for you, no, man.
John, come with Stephanie. Check. You must get sound now. Come here, hear a little feedback.
I can be the athletic section.
Let me talk.
Listen, another person.
Alright, okay, as an interviewer.
Come right here. Look here, go there. Catch this angle. Actually.
All I can say, your white email.
My white email?
Yeah, I can use the lotion from it.
Welcome. Of course, we are here this afternoon on today's episode of The Couch. And of course, I am your girl, Carrie Sunshine, and with me, I have
Tiffany.
So girl, let me tell you what a week it has been.
Absolutely, an incredible week.
But let's think about it. What's the most outstanding thing this week? I think the only thing that's in my mind for this week is the government salary increases like 214%.
Yep, that's a good that run everybody week right off the tracks.
So I was talking to somebody the other day and they were like, but the government deserve it. I'm like, no problem, they deserve it. But such a huge jump. I mean, from the opposition leader, like 5 million per annum, jumping all the way to 25 million per annum. Do you think it's worth it?
Absolutely not. I think my gross, or most people's challenge or gross that they have with it is simply not necessarily an increase but it's simply because of the amount as well as as well as when you look at doctors and you look at teachers and police officers, they're getting a 3% and 4%. What about them? How is that fair for when politicians should be getting like a 200 or 250 or 214 increase? It's disproportionate.
Definitely, I so agree with you. And also bearing in mind that I myself was a teacher and remembering the salary that I used to receive way back when, I mean, thank God for Supreme Ventures, you know, they kind of box the teaching thing out of the way. But I say to myself, we're struggling to pay teachers, we're struggling to pay police officers, we're struggling to pay all these government workers, and you guys can take all of, not even 100%, not 150, not 180, but all of 214% increase. That for me right there is a slap in the face to the people of Jamaica, and of course to all the civil servants who themselves are like literally begging for a raise. And I don't see how they're going to justify it. And I was reading an article like, how are we going to afford to pay the government? What do you think they're going to increase, or what do you think they're going to put in place now in order to pay themselves? Because them are pay themselves.
That's a great question, but when you really analyze our economic system, the only thing they can do at this point is increase taxes.
Here we go again.
That's the only solution for them, you know, which obviously means this trickles down to the regular civilians who are already unable to feed their families and, you know, go to work, so forth and so on, who are very much struggling.
Exactly. And I mean, it has to be a way where I think I heard Mark Golding, opposition leader, come forward and say that he's going to donate, he's going to only keep 20% of his salary. I am sure before the government implemented this system or this raise, everybody was a part of it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
I am sure that everybody agreed to it, both the opposition and of course...
I don't know if you saw there was an article in the Observer the day after the increases was announced. Mm-hmm. And I think it was, I don't remember which of the opposition members who basically said that everybody is okay with it, essentially that they're okay with the increase. Meanwhile, Mark Golding is saying something totally different, you know. So at this point, I think one of the major concerns is not only the increase, but we should be concerned about the state of our country. Who are we voting for? Who can we vote for? Because we have the oppositions who are very disorganized. Nobody's on the same page or plane. And then we have the JLP, which we all know how that is turning out. You know, so how do we vote? How do we build our country? How do we maintain trust in any of the parties?
And that's exactly my thought process too, because when you have a country, the country definitely cannot decide on whether to vote left or whether to vote right. What state does it leave the country in when it comes down to, you know, your political choice, your political beliefs? Because if we have, and one thing I do realize is that social media has so much power nowadays. So even if you are thinking about voting, you know, when things like these arise, it's as if social media sways person's thought processes. Absolutely. And they wonder, am I supposed to vote? That's the power of social media right now. And I myself, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in regards to the salaries. I mean, I know Mark Golding said he's going to donate a percentage to whatever he's going to donate it to, and I'm not sure if the other politicians are agreeing or going to agree to it.
Highly doubt that.
I highly doubt that too. But let's see what's going to happen, because we're all here waiting for it. There was a demonstration that took place yesterday, and this is what I wish for the Jamaican people. Unity is a must, and I don't see that happening. So if we're not united, I don't think we're going to have a change, and that's always the issue. We always bicker behind everybody's back, and then nobody does anything about it. So
what you guys think about we getting like 95 workers getting like tax reform? Like, you know, America set up a real thing.
Okay, so we had a question from the audience just now. Audience member, he asked, what do you think about the regular workers, regular 9 to 5 workers getting tax refunds, just like in the United States where they have, the whole tax refund system in January. What do you think about that?
Technically, it's a very, very good idea, but practically, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. How are we going to pay the government?
How are we going to pay the government now? Especially now. But I was told, and I think I need to do some research about that whole ordeal, because I was told that there is a way to get that done. It's just that a lot of persons don't know about that way. But if you have a great, is it a lawyer or who is the person that looks about it? I don't remember, but they do say that there is a way to actually get your tax refunds. I think it's an auditor, not sure. I'm gonna do my research and come back with it, but I am for it. I wouldn't mind, especially with my salary package. I wouldn't mind getting that refund every January. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely for that. But I think it would be because it's a third world country, and as you said, if we do that, we can't really afford it. Yeah. So, any more questions from our audience members? Anybody else has a question? Go ahead. My audience members are so shy.
I have a question. Let's jump back to the increases, which, as they said, it's a wage restructuring. Have you gotten the chance to see the Prime Minister's response, and what are your thoughts about his response?
Well, to be honest, I haven't heard his response. I'm going to be brutally honest, because it was such a shocker to me.
Tax increase for the public?
Pardon me?
What's the tax increase for the public? When will they announce that?
Well, I just saw the article this morning. I haven't seen where they said they're going to announce when it will be increased. I know the starting time for the payment package will be April 1, but I don't know in regards to the increase of, I know they said that persons who make 2.2 million per annum will be affected mostly.
So PAYE.
So PAYE, of course, is gonna go up for persons who are making more than 2.2 million per year. So if you're making over, you're gonna have to send out some more money, Tiffany.
Right, we'll do. Speak with my attorney.
You speak with your attorney. All right, I think I have to line up some people for me too. But do you think that's fair though? In all, the whole distribution or allocation of taxes. Do you think it's a fair? Or
it's absolutely not fair. But again, we live in Jamaica, where I have come to realize that there is a bottleneck where up the top is heavy and at the bottom is very meager. People are suffering and it's being overlooked. So it's very unfair, but it's the reality of our situation. How do we? We're a government of the people, by the people. So I think we have a voice, but we're not sure how to articulate and make the moves that we need to make as a society to see the changes that we want to see.
How do you think it's gonna affect migration in Jamaica?
Well, so the audience member just asked, how do we think it's going to affect migration? It already has been affecting the migration rate in Jamaica. I read in an article the other day where they said the migration rate is at 180%. And with all the freeing up of this so-called border situation where accessibility to overseas is now way much easier and with much perks and benefits for them. Just imagine, you paying 300,000, 400,000 to run off to a country where once you get there, you tell them, oh, thief run me down, or gunman want to kill me, and they give you a status in the United States, which a lot of visa holders aren't even getting, So with all of this, do you yourself, Tiffany, think that the migration rate is gonna get even higher?
Have to. As I said, doctors, nurses, teachers, they want better, they need better. And if you are living in a country where you have a core function such as a doctor, a teacher, and you're not being paid fairly, then what's the next best step? You have a family to feed.
Well, thank you so much for making it today on today's episode of The Couch. And of course, Tiffany, my co-host, is really host. My co-host, of course, and myself, Carrie Sunshine. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Thank you.
This whole ordeal of raising salaries is definitely a broad topic, and definitely a topic that we should speak on even more. So tune in to our next episode of On the
Couch.